Okay, yes, so I just did my first video on my new technology so you guys can see me more clear. Yes, this is a lot better, I get it. So today I'm going to go right on to it because I got a couple videos to do. I'm going to talk about not the business, which some people are like, I'm going to talk about the old nuts, the old cheese, a little bit of the caffeine, and why I am so strict. So when I first started doing video blogs, people were like, whoa, what's this? And they found my videos, they thought I was a little nutcase, but I was really excited about it, as you could see in former videos. I started to test people on nuts and cheese and anything that would be considered an allergen. As you guys know, or some of you, getting into a highly adapted keto state is not easy. A lot of you guys don't know the difference between making ketones, and you guys think you're in ketosis. Yeah, not. A lot of you guys don't understand the difference between making ketones and being highly adapted. So yes, there is a difference. You can make ketones and not use them. So urine strips and breathalyzers, even your glucometer can be subjective. So it started off with me coaching a lot of people because I had tried or applied keto on personal training clients for 2 years before I even went onto the internet to talk about it. I waited till I felt like I knew a lot, but I didn't know anything back then, even after 2 years of trying it on 8 subjects. Now I've learned a lot. So people were not adapting. Or some people would have perfect glucometer numbers and they still were tired, they still had inflammation, they still were going through the same issues, or they would come up with new ones, like their hair would start shedding and they would develop thyroid issues. And I was like, you know, based on the lack of information that there was nearly 7 years ago, there's quite a lot now, or even now, or even when I started doing video blogs on the subject nearly 3 years ago, there wasn't a lot of information. There still is not. It's very conflicting information. So today I wanted to just bring up the subject, and I'll probably do a series of videos. So I'm 48, I'll soon be 49, and you know what? I got some energy. I do. I got energy all day long because my body's using ketone bodies. And that's the difference between being in ketosis and being highly adapted. Now, even a person who is not doing a ketogenic protocol whatsoever can show ketone numbers on a glucometer. In fact, they can show high numbers like 1.0 or 2.0. They'll say, well, I'm in ketosis. You're not in ketosis. So I did the test on 8 subjects. Prior to me starting to vlog, I had a lot of results, but I didn't understand how to track people's progress. I wasn't really sure about how do you know if you're in ketosis? Super hardcore quotation fingers. How do you know if one is highly keto adapted? So when I started working with people on the internet, and then I realized very quickly that you can have great ketones, not even do a ketogenic diet, and feel like shite. So I started learning very quickly, well, test the glucose, because glucose, high glucose, insulin resistance. Yes, you're having pancreatic issues, insulin receptor damage issues. That makes more sense, right? Because the body will always defer to glucose under stress, so it's quite logical. So it started with one woman, right? She wanted to do a 30-day test on everything. So she was willing to prick her finger all the time to test glucose all day long and to also test ketones every day. By the way, you only test ketones fasted in the morning. And what we came up with was, if she didn't work out, her glucose spiked. Glucose. If she worked out too hard, her glucose spiked. If she worked out in the evening, her glucose spiked. We tested all kinds of foods. We tested chia seeds, we tested goat's milk, we tested almond milk, we tested all kinds of dairy, sour cream, we tested cheese, obviously, and all dairy except for butter. she would have high glucose from. Now, does that mean that you're going to have high glucose from that? Not necessarily, but she did. So I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. So her ketones would start to spike, and her ketones looked good, but her glucose was not stable. So then we tested everything else. We tested sleep, timing, circadian rhythm, like I said, all the foods, things you wouldn't even think about, like onions or cucumber or tomato, squash, yellow squash. We tested her protein, the amounts, the type, lean protein in comparison to fatty meats, and olive oil in comparison to coconut oil, in comparison to butter, in comparison to lard. And the results were quite interesting. So it was black and white what made her glucose spike. So then there were other people willing to do these really long-term tests. And I'll be darned, same damn issues. Chia seeds, too much protein, working out at night, not working out at all, night shift jobs clearly, sleep cycles, cheese, nuts, caffeine. Now the cheese, nuts, caffeine stuck out a lot. So I was like, well, let's try this on more people. So you can go on the internet, and there's 5,000 keto gurus, but they haven't worked with the number of people that I have. So I've worked with over 1,000 people with glucometers, not breathalyzers. No urine strips, straight up glucometers and journals. 1,000 people. You're gonna learn a lot just by the sheer number of people. Boom. The thing that stands out the most is too much protein spikes glucose and people do not adapt. Boom. Caffeine overstimulates the adrenal glands to produce more adrenaline. Now, a lot of you guys have adrenaline dysfunction. Your adrenal glands are pumping out too much adrenaline, which takes like 9 hours to clear out of the system, which is coupled by cortisol, which goes and breaks down amino acids to convert into sugar. And then it disrupts sleep and tyrosine. And it's a diuretic, so you're peeing out a lot of nutrients. Your T levels begin to drop with too much caffeine. It's very acidic to the blood and has mycotoxins and pesticides. Not really the best thing to stick in your body. The antioxidant benefits are only in a certain type of coffee bean. So you guys are doing all kind of instant and roasted and stuff at Starbucks, and you're doing caffeine and pre-workouts. Like, hold up, wait a minute, and look at what's going on. People aren't adapting on caffeine. If you need caffeine, you probably have some kind of adrenal dysfunction. You should wake up with enough cortisol to wake your arse up. Yes! And you should have enough melatonin at night to get you sleepy around 8:39. So that by the time that 10 o'clock window, that circadian time comes, boom, you're out. So a lot of you guys have a difficulty to build muscle. So I built 15 pounds of muscle in a year and a half on a small little frame. Lots of muscle everywhere. You name it, I grew it. On 53 grams of protein a day. So the protein is so important. The caffeine, those are the two that will just stand out so much. Now here's another thing, the mycotoxins. So you can sit and say that caffeine's a vasodilator, you can say that there's antioxidants in coffee, but you cannot deny the mycotoxins. And the thing that I realize is that you guys have SIBO. This is a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I'm having people do organic acid testing and stuff is fracked up in here. It is. So when everybody's saying it's okay to have a lot of protein, it's okay to have nuts, cheese, caffeine. Cheese is casein. We've got IGF-1, BMC7, A1 cows, We've got hormones, we have hormones, we have the casein itself, which is an allergen to a human body. So the problem is the reaction. Cross-reactive. Your body, dairy can also poke holes, not only in your intestine, right? Those tight junctions become loose, and now things can pass through in big chunks into your bloodstream. But dairy can do the same thing. And the problem is that doctors can't test this until your gut, the villi, are broken down. They can't test for these things until you're fracked up. So a lot of you guys are like, I eat cheese and I don't have a bloat. But how many people on the internet that are not just a young guy who's already fit before? I am almost 49. I cannot run, jump, lunge, or squat. This is the age I should be Perry. I shouldn't have bubbly muscle, and I shouldn't be this lean as a woman with a screwed up knee who does zero cardio. So this is the reason why I go in and speak on these allergenic foods. Mycotoxins, caffeine for the adrenals, the cheese for the casein, and the phytates in the nuts, the high in omega-6s. People are like, where's the science? I'm like, this is not science. Nuts are high in polys. Fact. Nuts have mycotoxins. Fact. Most nuts have too many carbohydrates to keto adapt. Fact. Okay, so that's cleared out. And even when you soak those nuts, they still have mycotoxins on them. Trust. And 99% of you out there watching this video right now have candida. No joke. And that stuff can permeate cells. It can permeate the cells in your brain. And the brain fog, the cravings for carbs, the destroying cells in your entire body from this bacterial overgrowth, mycotoxins. That's fact. Soaking them doesn't get it out. It gets some of it out. Cheese has casein. And so that's a big issue for a lot of people. That's why people are like, oh, I've got a cheese sensitivity. If I have cheese, I have an allergic reaction. So these things are not normal in the wild. If you need caffeine, I got energy all day long. You may not like what I'm saying about the caffeine, but you cannot deny my energy. Yes. So if people say, oh, you got energy anyway. And I'm like, if I had energy anyway, then I wouldn't have this body. Because people who are adrenaline junkies constantly overstimulate the adrenals, which makes them estrogen dominant, which makes them very saggy and premenopausal. So you have to look at everything really deep under the microscope, because people aren't willing to clean out. Do a test like I did on people. Just test. Be really, really clean, do an elimination, and get rid of potential allergens. And that's all I've ever said, is get rid of potential allergens. And then slowly start introducing foods by using the glucometer, by writing journals to see if you're adapted, because people use that term, ketosis, so loosely, and you're not. And you're still tired, and you still have a hard time losing the fat here, and you still have a hard time gaining the muscle. Okay guys, if you want to learn more, I'm not getting too deep into thought. It's freaking hot in February, it's crazy. If you guys want to learn more, you can go to stephanieperson.com and book a consultation. Stephanie the Business Person on my Facebook fan page if you want to learn more with quotations. Stephanie Ketogenic on my Instagram, or now Periscope. I keep driving Periscope and I'll continue to do it, so if it's redundant, oh well. It's Stephanie the Biz, so Steph the Biz, B-I-Z-N-E-S-S. So download the app and I do live broadcasts of Q&As where you can ask me questions live. Okay guys, that's it. I'm about to peace out, and it's really nice to have better quality. Bing, bing, bing.